My name is Susan Harris. I'm from Merit Network in Ann Arbor. As you went through registration, you may have heard the sad news that Pam Ciesla has left Merit. She's very happy, though. She's working for a large router vendor that recently set up an office in Ann Arbor. Carol Wadsworth has taken over Pam's responsibilities for NANOG. When you see her outside, please say hi and make her feel welcome. She's been just wonderful. She's the woman on Carol is on your right as you look at that picture. Merit has been coordinating NANOG meetings since the mid-90s. NANOG evolved from conferences that we held with the regional network during our leadership of the NSF Backbone Service. Merit is a nonprofit. We are based at the University of Michigan, and we're governed by Michigan's four-year public universities. And we're having a reunion here this morning, kind of by accident. Our two founders of NANOG are here, Mark Knopper and Elise Garrick. So if you're new, you don't know who they are, but yeah, we'll leave that one aside. As all of you know, NANOG is a community effort. There's no way that we could hold these meetings without the help we get from many of you. Many of you contribute links for our collection of web resources, and of course we all enjoy contributing to the NANOG email list. And this is where I would like to focus just a bit this morning as we continue our highly successful campaign to improve signal to noise on the NANOG list, or SISNL. This campaign was actually launched by Craig Labovitz a couple of years ago at our Atlanta meeting. At that time, we were concerned about large growth in volume on the email list, as well as an accompanying degradation in quality of the messages. It seemed that many of them were veering off topic. In other words, they did not deal directly with Internet backbone operations. So we created our NANOG pre-posting guide. Questions you can ask yourself before you post that message. Yeah, I know you know which is the most. And that seems to have done some good, because after the Atlanta meeting, this chart, of course, shows monthly messages to the list over the years since we were created. At the end, there's a slight rise, and we want to keep an eye on that as we take a look at last month's statistics. This is a different scale entirely. These are daily messages over just 1 month. If you consider that the average number of messages sent to the list over the years has been 13, you can see we are way over the top here a couple of times, many times. That big spike where we were over 45 messages a day was a discussion of a possible SendMail patch that we could use to filter attachments like the love bug. That was interesting. That was operational, but a lot of the other topics were not. They were veering off into the political and philosophical, commercial, whatever. So just to close this off, a quick look at our AUP, reminder to stay focused, and thank you for helping us maintain the quality of the list. Now, the meeting. You saw me posting some squid information earlier. Please do configure your browser to use the cache. It'll make web access much faster as you're here at the meeting. And you'll find information about that on the web. And you'll hear me mention this periodically throughout the day. This meeting, for the first time, we have a V6 connection available. If you have questions about that, ask this gentleman in front from Merit, Bob Stovall, and his colleague Bert Rossi is also around. There are some static IPs in the terminal room. They're sitting in various pieces of paper. Just cut off your number. DHCP is working for the wireless. Is it working on the Ethernet? Oh, there's a problem on this side of the room. We lost some of the hubs. Overnight, something magic happened. We're working on that. They'll be back. It was working yesterday. Our apologies for that. Beepers and cell phones, please turn them off now. As you remember from previous meetings, the slides for most talks are linked off the agenda page, but they will not be made live until just before the actual presentation. Tonight's schedule will be beer at 5:30, followed by the boss at 7:30. Also, for the first time, we have our conference evaluations online. They'll appear on the web sometime this afternoon. You'll only be able to access them from these subnets, so please do so before you leave. Your comments are so important to us as far as judging what went well, what didn't go well at this meeting, and how we can run future meetings, future speakers, and so on. Now, the good part, the thank yous. First of all, of course, our local host, iHighway. Native American Systems was project manager for actually building the hotel network. Other companies contributing either people or technology to the meeting included CommScope, Border States Electric, Siemens, Southwest Cyberport, and INET. SGI contributed the terminals for the terminal room. SciCorp actually saw that they got set up. And our faves, the multicast guys you can see in the back of the room, Cisco and the University of Oregon have once again kindly provided a multicast broadcast for us. Compaq has been kind over many meetings, and they contributed some wireless cards this time. We may have a few. John, are there any cards? Okay, no cards left. Next time we'll have more. IR Cash again set up our Squid Cash, and we are very grateful to all of you. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our host, John Brown.
Can the soundboard turn up the remote mic? Can everybody hear me okay? Great. Well, welcome to Albuquerque. Many of you were here once before when we hosted NANOG back in February of '98. See a lot of familiar faces, welcome back. And to those that are new faces, welcome to Albuquerque. One of the things that I've noticed is that there seems to be some more faces, new faces out there. I'm glad to see that there are new people showing up. One of the things that's really important from a host perspective, and certainly from my perspective as a host, is the cooperative effort. The internet was born, in my understandings and what I've heard and learned, through a cooperative effort. And I think the NANOG events need to continue to be in a cooperative effort. And so to that extent, Susan has already mentioned some of our folks, and I just want to sort of go over them and tell you what they've done and what the benefits of their help has been. For those of you who have done a NANOG, you understand and know the undertaking that it takes to put one of these together. And for those of you that haven't, you get to sit back and watch us go around and lose what's left of our hair. You can tell those that have done NANOG a couple times because, well, they don't have any hair left. That's a cue for you to laugh. Anyway, Native American Systems is a local cabling vendor. They wired the hotel. One of the things that I really hate to see happen is for us to come in, set up cable all over the place, tape it all down, and at the end of the thing we rip it all up in a big hairball and throw it away. There's nothing left behind. And I think it's really important that we leave stuff behind as we move forward, building the net, especially in rural parts of our country and rural parts of our planet, to be able to continue to leave connectivity things behind. So graciously, Native American Systems donated the time, the labor. They helped coordinate putting together the extra vendors to permanently wire this hotel. This hotel now is the second hotel in Albuquerque to have internet access, 100 megabit Ethernet to all the meeting rooms. The other hotel, by the way, was the Crown Plaza. Thank you. The other hotel is the Crown Plaza, which many of you will remember as where NANOG 12 was when we hosted it. So we're trying to leave behind something that's more than just, oh yeah, all those guys in T-shirts and shorts showed up, drank a lot of beer, and raised a bunch of hell and moved on. No, we don't do that. That's right. Sorry. Siemens and CommScope, Border State Electric, they donated graciously the cabling, the jacks, everything. And this wasn't one of these quick, let's slap it together, a bunch of geeks getting together, climbing around doing it. This is a professional install, which is really good. It allows us to have continued conferences here down the road and other events. I also want to talk and thank those of folks that have come here to help. I mean, iHighway is not a 500-person or a 7,000-person company. We're a 5-person company. And so for 5 people to get together and help build this event, it's a fairly a daunting task. So we rely on our partner ISPs trying to build a community of providers. And so I want to thank Mike Spin and Matt from SpinNet. I want to thank Dave Cates, wherever he's running around here, helping with the wiring in here, from INET of New Mexico. He drove all the way in from Clovis, New Mexico, which is about 300 miles. I want to thank the guys and gals over at Southwest Cyberport, another ISP here in town that have helped build and put things together and donate the time and the labor to do that from the local perspective. I also want to thank my staff because they've done an excellent job, and it's very proud to work with a good set of people and a good team. One of the things that I like about NANOG is that we all need to walk away with here learning something new, having something left in our brain. And one of the things that was really exciting about this NANOG for me is IPv6 and multicast. And certainly the multicast crew in the back from the University of Oregon deserves a big round of applause for helping getting things set up and doing that. The Merit staff and the people from Merit that helped set us up and help supply some of the equipment also worked into the wee hours to help make this go, and I think that they all need a round of applause and pats on the back kind of stuff. It's a collaborative effort, and that's what we need to remember. We're all out there trying to become .com rich in one form or another to some respect, but we have to remember that there's a community out there, there's a community of engineers, there's a community of users, and it's not just a local community, it's a global community. Something that happened here back at the beginning of May, and I want to just pass this on, and I'm going to sort of shut up and move on so we can get on to the real stuff here, is that New Mexico was basically on fire in the northern part of our state. We were burning pretty bad. The city of Los Alamos was evacuated. The next day, the city of White Rock, just south of Los Alamos, was evacuated also. That fire sort of got contained, and then the mountains right around Santa Fe, our state capital, started to burn. And there was a lot of tension there, and a lot of how do we get information to people. In that week alone, the Albuquerque Journal, which is the newspaper that serves most of this state, took 8 million hits that one week on their website. Now for a lot of you, if you're from Yahoo or something like that, wow, 8 million hits in 1 week. Well, hell, we do 30 million in 1 day. But you have to think about that in respect or compare that towards New Mexico. 8 million hits in 1 day has never happened, ever. And the net was able to communicate to the people that were pushed away and evacuated out of their houses, the people whose homes had burned down or they didn't know that their homes were burnt down, was able to communicate that info. And I think that's a really cool thing. I think that's something that we all as network engineers and maintainers of networks can feel proud about helping, and we should help our communities in those respects. It gave us the ability to quickly take something like MySQL, an open source product, and be able to push that on a database to allow people to search to find out if their home was burned or not, to find out whether or not their pets that got saved out of the house were okay and what shelter were they in, and where were loved ones when they got split. Things like that. And that's what's really cool about the net, is that you can get to it anywhere, anytime. And I think we need to remember that as we go out of here and go back to working on building our nets and building connectivity, is that let's have some fun, let's do some good, let's make a few dollars. And I think in about that order.